Hey y'all, another fantastic guest today, Raichele Privette. I think I said that right correctly. Yeah, okay.
Yes, very.
From Bleeding Green Nation, which if you follow along, it's connected to SB Nation, and it's a big deal out in the Philadelphia area. A lot of ways to continue to watch stuff because a lot of us in our day-to-day lives we don't have the kind of time to pay attention to the ins and outs and stat tracking. I know that guy Johnny Page does the video breakdown.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
really good at that, so it's awesome. Rachel, tell the people about yourself and how'd you got with Bleeding Green Nation.
Yeah, so I am originally from Annapolis, Maryland. I'm born and raised. I went to Hampton University for undergrad, then I went to Georgetown for graduate school. Got both undergrad, my bachelor's degree and my master's in journalism. Had a couple different internships here and there. After I graduated in sports. So that's when I kind of knew for sure, okay, I want to do this. I interned with ESPN in Bristol, Connecticut. That was my first official internship. I came home and I interned in grad school with DC United, did a little bit of work with them. I also freelanced with NBC Sports Washington a little bit. So I got a little bit of just experience here and there, doing different things. And I remember I was applying for my first full-time opportunity, and I mean this was right before right around the time that Doug Peterson got fired. I remember all the stuff that was going on. It was during that time, and I saw the position was open for SB Nation. So I was keeping up with what was going on with the Eagles, and I was already familiar with the fan base. I mean, who isn't familiar with the Philadelphia Eagles fan base? I have a few family members here and there who have always been fans, and so it was kind of just I definitely want to go for this, and I feel like I've just kind of been welcomed into it, adopted into everything. BGN Radio has always done phenomenal work, Brandon Lee Gouton, Jimmy Kempski, they do some really dope stuff out here, and just the credibility that the organization has developed over the years. I was like, why wouldn't I want to be a part of this? So it was kind of a no-brainer, and then I got fortunate, blessed to get this opportunity, and that's all she wrote.
Well, you've been doing fantastic work over there. If y'all haven't had a chance to listen, she's interviewed even Jalen Hurts. It's been fantastic. I mean, so let's just jump right into it.
Yes.
So obviously we're coming out of an interesting the dead season part of this schedule. So it's like really trying to get the hot take stuff going on. It's starting to clash with realistic reality is having to set in, and it's interesting. And so one of the newest things in terms of AJ Brown, who I think is a fantastic player, is the discussion of him and T.O.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about those comparisons? And do you think that, it's even realistic to say that he could be that good?
I definitely understand where it's stemming from, because when you look back, when you're reflecting, AJ Brown is probably one of, if not the most accomplished wide receivers that the Eagles have acquired since T.O. So I get it. And that was back in 2004 or something,
Yes.
around that time.
Yes.
So I understand the hype, because I mean, who doesn't want somebody like that? Someone who was an impact player who was going to immediately be able to come in and is that difference maker, kind of like that make or break player. And so everybody's been talking about that. Yes, we have Jalen Hurts and we're trying to work on him becoming better, but just having these many weapons, AJ Brown, we already have Devontae Smith, who we're hoping has a even better year. He did good last year, but I feel like he can do so much more,
Yes.
the Dallas Goddard. So throwing in a player like a AJ Brown, I feel like it was kind of a no-brainer. And I definitely understand, just looking at the fact that when you reflect on what he did with the Titans or whatever, he's already established himself as one of the best in the game right now. Tallying 185 catches, 2,995 receiving yards, 24 touchdowns, and that's only in 3 seasons. So I understand the comparisons, just being a difference maker. The game has changed compared to back in 2004, we're in 2022. So the game is not the same. So I don't know, when looking at just the player alone, if I would say oh yeah, I see it, but the impact that he will be able to have if he couldn't do that. Like if he can really, really produce this year, I could understand why people were saying that.
Yeah, I feel like so in case AJ is listening or anybody who's a supporter, people say, "Oh, this is slander." I think AJ Brown's a fantastic player. I agree with you. I think he's a potentially top 5, top 7 wide receiver in the league, and I do see the similarities in terms of him being able to, catch the ball over the middle and to be a threat. Like
Yes.
cornerbacks don't want to tackle him.
Yeah.
All of that is true, but at the same time, I think that the amount of time it took T.O. to get into the Hall of Fame and all of like the ugliness that surrounds T.O.,
Yeah.
I think it kind of has skewed in people's brains. And a lot of people who are now old enough to especially use this social media app that we
Yeah.
are on sometimes, they get to their takes taken seriously. I don't think people realize how good T.O. was, like
Yeah.
how dominant he was. If he has that kind of impact on this team can go deep.
For
So
sure.
I hope, but I don't. I feel like I want people to kind of pump their brakes on that.
Yeah. I even saw, I mean, yes, I saw the TO takes for sure, but I saw Lane Johnson had quoted and he was comparing him to Anquan Bolden.
Yes.
Do you think that that's like more realistic? Would you say
Yes,
that?
I do see that one as more realistic. And
Okay.
Anquan Bolden was another for people who didn't get to watch Anquan
I remember Anquan
on the Cardinals. Anquan and I
and the
think
Ravens.
Super Bowl, right?
He was on the Ravens. Yeah.
The Super Bowl team. Yeah,
Yes.
amazing player. I think Anquan Bolden is a more apt. And when I got a chance to talk with Dallas Goedert and Avonte Maddox, I was talking about how big Dallas Goedert was, and he was like, "There's no question, AJ Brown's bigger than." He was saying me and Avonte put
Yeah.
together.
That's crazy. Just to think. But like you said, that determines like when you're looking at the secondary, nobody is gonna want to mess with that. You know?
It's a good fit, a very, very, very good fit.
Yeah.
But in that vein, with the Eagles, depending on so many newer players who haven't played at NFL competition,
Yeah.
do you think that we see more of them in the preseason, or you think Nick was going to be like that? We didn't get so injured last year, so I'm gonna keep them off the field until the regular season.
So you're saying, do you think like we're gonna see more of the rookies in the preseason? Is that what you're saying?
Starters in general, because
It would. I don't think it's too smart to. I mean, I understand that that's like the opportunity to, because this is a completely different team compared to last year. So I understand. But nowadays, we saw what happened. I'm not sure the player's name, but literally one of the players got hurt today in training camp. I saw that all over sports.
Ryan Jurgens from the
Yes.
Buccaneers starting
Yes.
center.
The center. So I was like, you just never know any literal like sudden movement, anything, and you're out like that. So I don't know if it's worth having all of the starters, all of the newer players coming in and playing during preseason, because you guys got lucky last year, but we saw what happened with other less fortunate teams,
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting. The preseason, I feel like in the next CBA, they're gonna have to make this like a non-existent kind of thing. Maybe just extend training camp.
There's no point. Like, why? You know what I'm saying? Like, the teams aren't even really trying. Like, I get it for like the younger players. I understand. I remember last season, like this was when like Quez Watkins had like a really big game. Do you remember like that performance?
Yes.
So it's exciting to see, but is it worth it? Is the question.
And how seriously are you so if a guy goes out, let's say Quez Watkins or whoever, Devin Allen for this year's team,
Yes.
Britton Covey drops 300 on somebody.
Yeah.
Is it really? Are you really? Does it even matter even at that point? Does it matter to you?
Yeah. No, because preseason game.
Yeah. So do you think they pretty much announced that the Seumalo, the right guard spot, Isaac Seumalo is, kind of penciled in there as the starter. You think that they do you think that's a bluff to potentially try to get something for him, or do you think or do you think that they're for real? That's the guy.
I don't think they're sold like, oh, for real, that's the guy, especially because there's still the players like Driscoll and Sua Opeta
Yes.
who are still fighting for that spot as well. So I don't think that, like, it's football. So I feel like there's always competition. If you have those young players right there who are definitely in it, I don't think that he's like penciled in for this role at all by any means. Especially if you're coming off of an injury, like they still have to see how he's gonna, perform. He still kind of has to prove himself. You're recovering from two surgeries, you know.
Yeah, and he's been a really good versatile player for them, but I just feel like they released that yesterday, and I I think that that's more of a play to try to get something. And
Yeah,
offensive line depth is priceless, but he's got a $7.6 million price tag. That's
right.
really high
Yeah,
for you're not sure he's definitely better than the guy who's behind
yeah,
him.
yeah. I think like you just said, leverage. Oh yeah, we're gonna make it seem like he's worth this much just so we can see what we can get back for it. But I'm not sold on that. It sounds good, but I don't know if I'm gonna be banking on him coming in starting at that right guard position.
So so we'll have to see in a month what we'll start giving Nick Sirianni in terms of letter grades, because like we agree, I don't think we're going to really see a lot of players in the preseason, so it won't really matter. Nobody will be
It's
really
hard.
taken seriously.
No.
So the rubber will meet the road September 11th in Detroit.
Yeah.
Um, what do you think? What letter grade would you give Nick Sirianni for the 2021 season?
I feel like you have to be fair. I'm gonna go with like a B minus. I say that because I mean, look what he did in his first season as a full time like head coach. Like he was the head coach of this team, and nobody expected them to go that far. Like they were only projected to have like maybe 7 wins, and so the fact that they didn't finish last in the NFC East. I think a lot of teams were banking on that as well, and they made it to the playoffs. So you can't be but so hard on him. Yes, there were a lot of things that need to be worked on, especially like defense for sure. That's the biggest issue. And Jalen Hurts, which is kind of like just developmental. But I don't think like Nick Sirianni did a terrible job by any means. And this year is going to be different because he gave up like that play calling responsibility. But I feel like by just looking at the success that they were able to have in his first time as head coach with a low key first time like quarterback that was only Jalen Hurts' like second season, I guess. Um, I feel like a B minus is fair. What would you say?
I was thinking more solid B, but I think B minus is right because obviously I for all those points that you made, I think that is a solid ranking. But there's some negatives. The inability of the team, one, to run those pick plays. Every team in
Okay.
the league is able to run those, and the
Yeah.
Eagles can't run that.
Yeah.
Continuing to stick with Jalen Rager, and I don't know if that's Howie and Jeffrey Lurie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to knock him for that. That's a
Okay. But like you said, was that him? We don't know. And the fact that Jalen Rager was like a former first round pick, like I understand. Would he even been able to if he wanted to? Like I'm having a hard time believing that that was Nick Sirianni who was like, oh yeah, keep him out there. I feel like that's more so like, okay, we can't get rid of him that quick or bench him that quick. Coming like a trickle down from like the higher ups. I don't know if that was Nick Sirianni. Am I-
okay. I think that's fair, but I'm not sure that Howie Roseman would say you got to play him at punt returner.
Yeah,
I think that's Sirianni. I think Sirianni,
yeah,
he was trying to give him opportunities to get hot, and
no. At what point do you be like, we've seen enough, you know? It was so bad. It was literally awful.
and I continue to say it because there's the whole funny video. If y'all haven't watched it, the video, like the guy, like I was catching the babies on like Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah,
Aguilar.
yes. I remember we would talk about it on a post game instant reaction show. Yeah.
He got a lot of flack in the city, but Jalen Rager is so much worse, much worse than Nelson Aguilar.
And I would say, adding to like Nick Sirianni, I think he did a really good job, even though people thought he was corny when he came in, with the visors and the highlighters and the flower analogy and all of that kind of stuff. I understand how people thought that he was corny, but I feel like his ability to come in and like rally the troops, I thought that was impressive. And it seemed like all of the team was like behind him from the get-go. So I think you got to give him a few points for being able to do that. It seemed like the team was united. There wasn't like a lot of there wasn't like drama or anything like that. And I think a lot of that has to do with like the environment that they're, creating. And that comes from the head coach too.
So you talked me up to an 84. So whatever 84 in classes, that's what he gets. Sirianni.
Okay. I like that. I was like, I don't know what very great I would predict for him going into the season, because I literally don't know what to expect going into the season. Like, I have no idea.
You say that because the expectations kind of vary for you, or
because expectations are so high? I know like people are, because of all of the offseason additions, the expectations are up here. So I'm like, are we going to be able to meet those expectations, or is it going to be one of those seasons where it's like they're terrible? So I don't know. Like, if I was to predict, like, I have no idea how this is going to pan out. I don't know what grade I would give Sirianni as of right now.
What? Asked it differently, what is a terrible season? Like, how bad could this go out of 17 games?
I feel like if we made the playoffs last year, they got to make the playoffs this year. So if they didn't make the playoffs, I would be like, that's bad. Like, that's bad. You guys have a way better roster this year.
Would you fail them? Would you, if this is your class, Miss Privette's class, does he fail? Get an F if he doesn't get the team to the playoffs?
Oh man, board with AJ Brown, I'm gonna and the defensive side, like the defensive additions that they have as well, they have to make the playoffs. They have to make the playoffs. I'm sorry.
I'm with you. I'm just checking. That's where I'm at.
I thought I was being harsh, so I was like, I don't want to be that person. I'm usually the optimistic person, but no, I'm sorry. They have to make the playoffs. This
with 7 playoff spots, basically half the conference makes the playoffs.
Yeah.
7 out of 16 teams.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I said it. I was trying to read the room, but I said it. Yes, they have to.
No. Yeah. If that's how you feel, then that's how. So they have to go at least. And I want to for the people who do love this team or don't. The truth is, they went 9-7 and kind of abstained from the participating in the final game. And if it was the Cowboys backups versus the Eagles backups all day, they might have been at 10 last year.
Yeah.
With all the ups and downs, starting at 2-5, they could have been a 10-7 team.
Yeah.
They got an identity. They have. We're going. Well, yeah.
Do you think they're gonna sway away from that identity a bit this year, though? Because, I mean, we know they did that for Hurts, but it's like, do they really want to be a run heavy team? Like, is that the identity that they want?
I think. I think you can do both. I think that they keep their identity. They have addition by subtraction, not try to push the ball to Rager downfield. I think that you get more like when Nick Foles was, throughout his crazy run, and even the first time in Philly with Chip Kelly, they did that read option as an extension of the run game. Okay. And a player like AJ Brown can take a 3-yard bubble screen to the house. So I think they'll still be able to throw the ball a little more. I'm not saying 5 to 10 more times a game. I'm saying 2 to 3 more times a game, but make the concepts a little more advanced. Yes, so I think that they can and they should stick with the same formula. You have a unique situation with the way that Jalen Hurts can run the football at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
that's
what.
fair.
Yeah. So, but so this year, more so than in the past, usually you watch these training camp and you have training camp battles. You have like 4, 5, 6 of them.
Yeah.
This year, more so than in the past, it seems that there aren't any of those. I can't really even think. I guess the
Mm,
right guard one
which
is the,
one?
the right guard. Say
Yes,
him out.
that's definitely one. That's definitely one. I was also saying like I was saying wide receiver a little bit, not like we already know who definitely has their spot, but like the Jalen Rager conversation we were talking about, we already kind of mentioned Devin Allen.
Yes,
Could you see him coming in and taking Rager's spot? We
I
know we know how he is as a track star. Of course, we haven't seen too much of him on the field, especially since he hasn't played in however long. But could you see that happening? I wouldn't be surprised.
what do I need to do? Sign me up. I'll
Yeah,
wear a Howie Roseman jersey to work every
yeah,
day for a week. Howie, if you're listening, just get him out of there. I don't care if you go pick up a high school junior.
we, yeah,
It's rough, and Jalen Rager's had a tough time. So I'm not talking about him, Jalen the person. He doesn't seem like a guy who's a bad guy who's doing
no,
the wrong thing or anything like that. Especially in the landscape of what folks are doing and getting away with in the NFL. So I'm not saying this as a personal
yeah,
thing, but in terms of the football is awful.
yes. And we didn't see any we saw no growth. Like you know what I'm saying? As many opportunities as he had last season, I saw no strides. So what more is there to see? I say give it to Devin Allen, depending on how he does, training camp and
Yes.
preseason, all that kind of stuff. But I could see it happening. So if I was to pick a player um, to make it, definitely Devin Allen over Jalen Rager. But I also could see when looking at like the running backs position, I feel like that could in a way be a little bit of a battle, some competition there outside of like the Miles Sanders. Um, can
Boston
you see that
Scott.
with Boston Scott and Kenny Gainwell? Could you see that?
Who would that be? Jordan Howard. I feel like we're just letting Jordan Howard take training camp off. Who else is in the mix? Elijah Holyfield.
I forgot all about Elijah Holyfield. I wasn't even thinking of. I was just thinking of the four of them. And I really enjoyed seeing Jordan Howard last year, but I guess like the Kenny Gainwell, Boston Scott.
Yeah. I think a pretty funny one is JJ Arthega-Whiteside
Okay.
try to make the team as a tight end. I
Yeah.
just don't think anybody's really buying it. I think they're going to give him the chance, but
Yeah. Because who's the rookie?
Calcaterra,
Calcaterra. Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
him.
I don't know.
Yeah, I like Calcaterra. They like Jack Stoll. I haven't seen
Yeah.
it from Jack Stoll personally. Jack, again, if you're listening, I'm not saying you're a bad guy. I'm not even saying you're a bum. I'm
No, you
just
just saying you
saying
haven't seen enough.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen anything like, whoa, that's my guy, Jack
Fair.
Stoll.
That's fair. It's the truth.
So aside from Jack Stoll, who do you expect to be the Eagles' offensive MVP this season?
I was gonna give it to AJ Brown.
Mm.
I'm gonna say AJ Brown. Why not? I don't think it's gonna be. I honestly don't think it's gonna be Hurts. I could see it being Devontae Smith,
Mm.
but I'm gonna confidently say AJ Brown for offense.
He's the best player. He's the best player on offense. Does that? Between for me AJ Brown and Dallas Goedert.
Okay, that's fair. I like that.
I'll go with AJ Brown though too. The
And that's
potential.
exciting. That Dallas Goedert, that's exciting because it's gonna be his first time like getting that like the job is yours from start to finish.
Yes.
So being able to confidently like step up into that role, that's gonna be exciting to see.
And when they go 4 wide, or they have Dallas Goedert as one of the wide
Yeah.
receivers, and
Mhm.
Quez and Devontae Smith and AJ Brown and a running back,
Yeah.
you're not really going to be able to key in on Dallas Goedert the way that they had even to Ertz.
Yeah.
I don't know if Dallas has that top end like where Ertz was, but
Yeah.
he's pushing up there.
He's nice. He is nice.
He
Like,
is.
that's why I
He
said I'm so
is.
excited for him this season, because I think this is gonna be his opportunity to really like show us you're not in somebody's like shadow.
The thing with Ertz, and I gotta put the respect on his name. There were times when the Eagles would go into a game, and he was the receiving threat. It was Jordan Matthews, Nelson Aguilar, and Zach Ertz. That was
Yeah.
and Carson would be
There we
forcing
come.
the ball, and he'd be making 86 is always going to be special.
Yeah.
Who's your defensive MVP for the season?
I don't know. Because I was thinking like, oh, can I give it to a rookie? I don't know about that. So maybe not giving it to a rookie. Maybe I'm always gonna be confident in Slay, but even like maybe maybe Bradbury. Because if you think about it, he's getting paired a lot in like training camp, at least, with Brown as that like big body.
Okay, to get him ready.
To Slay, who is like the speedster,
I like Hassan Reddick. I think
like Reddick.
yeah, I think Reddick will. I think we're looking at somewhere around a dozen sacks from him, but he's going to clearly lead the team in sacks. He'll be like, that's who the left tackle, or they try to double down on somebody. He's got to be. The door is wide open. The Eagles just have not really had a dominant pass rusher in some years.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to slander anybody, but to be honest, the last person I feel like who like single-handedly kind of dominated games for the Eagles from the pass rushing perspective was like Connor Barwin or somebody like that.
Okay.
Trent Cole, but Connor Barwin was after that. But like just completely ferocious. So I think Hassan Reddick gets about a dozen. I think he'd be or Slay. You're right, because Slay is
after last season and seeing like how exciting he was, that would be like a no-brainer. But I like your choice.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, so it's going to be an exciting season. So very early here, we're only on day 2 of training camp.
Yes.
What's the Eagles win total for 2022?
We had 9 last year, right?
9 last year.
I'm gonna say at least. I'm gonna say 12. I'm gonna say 11 or 12.
Okay, 12. I would love that. And somebody tweeted that today that the Eagles are going to win 12 games and win the NFC.
I think it's possible.
I want to believe it.
I believe it's possible. I really do.
Oh yeah, it's just 12 wins. Then you're in the conversation to start being for that first seed, and so that's a little too exciting. I haven't been there in a while, so
the fact that scares you, of course, is Hurts. Hurts would be like what's concerning for me. Why I feel like it might not happen, because we don't know what we're going to see from him yet.
I'm scared that Jonathan Gannon gets exposed and we have to go get a new coordinator. Oh my God.
But it's like, how do you have this many weapons? No, I'm sorry. You need to figure it out. That's
why I'm scared, because it's so embarrassing. We get torched for 40 in like week 2 or something like that.
That is unacceptable. I mean, everything he did last season was unacceptable, but I would be so confused. I would be, how? At that point, he doesn't need to be in his position.
I would say on my hot seat, Jonathan Gannon's seat is hotter than Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
I'm less concerned about. I think I know what I'm going to get on a normal day. I know what I'm going to get from Jalen Hurts. I don't know what Gannon.
Oh, I see how you're looking at it. I was going to ask you, like, improvements wise, like, do you feel like we're going to see him making improvements in the areas that he struggled in last year, as regarding to Hurts? I get what you're saying with Gannon, though.
Do I think that we're going to see the
improvements like in those areas that he struggled with?
Gannon or Hurts?
Hurts.
Um, I think the team being put around him kind of just makes it impossible for him. I don't think we'll see any regression. Worst case, he plays how he plays last season. But I do think I put up something on the honorable mention Twitter account about his throwing mechanics. They look so much more fluid and everything. Mm-hmm. So based on what I'm seeing so far, based on the weapons that are being put around him, based on the improvement of Kenny Gainwell, improvement of Quez Watkins and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert, just names. There's no way he made the Pro Bowl last year. So do I expect he was a Pro Bowl alternate? Do I expect him to be in the Pro Bowl this year? I would say yes. And I would be disappointed if he didn't. Last year's grade, this didn't come up earlier. Last year's grade for Jalen Hurts, I'm gonna give him a C+.
Okay.
And I expect and hope to give him a B this year. I don't need him to be Patrick Mahomes. I think that's silly talk.
No, that's like what? We were literally on one of our shows talking about like the tiers in the Athletic article that came out where they were like polling the executives. And like I honestly, all I can say is I would want him to move up to tier 2.
Yes.
Now he's in tier 3. We know he's relying on that run game, but it's like, okay, we want to see a little bit more of your arm. We want to see you getting rid of the ball a little bit quicker, right? We want to see you being able to finish your reads. We know that he leaned on his legs, before he finished some of his reads, and you have so many targets right now. So it's like there's no excuse. So if anything, I would just say I need to see him, make that jump. That would be nice to see.
I need to see him next year where Dak is now.
Okay.
And I think that that's kind of near where the ceiling is. Not to try to down talk him, because I think that that's a pretty good player, top 10-ish quarterback. I don't think you'll see. It doesn't mean just because he's only a top 10 quarterback that he couldn't be in the MVP conversation. Because if he plays well, he could play himself into the MVP conversation. But you see the top 10s coming out now. Lamar, who's won a unanimous MVP, isn't even
so good. Please talk about it. Talk about it, because I was like, what the F? Like the fact that, because I felt like he could be in it before Watson or Dak.
Burrow? Are we sure that Joe Burrow is better than Lamar? Are we sure?
I was so pissed when I saw that list. I was like, no way. This is not real life. Like, I'm confused.
Disrespectful.
Disrespect. Whatever. Whatever. It is what it is.
And Watson, last we saw him play, he was definitely a top 10 quarterback, but he has had some time off. So
right. And y'all love to talk about that. When everybody brings up Colin Kaepernick, oh, he hasn't played in this long. So it's like, okay, what's the difference?
Talk about it.
Yes, it's been more years, but Watson it's been a little minute since he's played too. So how do you know he hasn't forgot stuff or just, fell off? That muscle memory.
It's just always the talking points that become convenient. It's when it's convenient,
Yes.
Pick this one up when it's convenient.
Yes.
Lamar Jackson in his MVP, people act like Lamar is where Jalen Hurts is, and again, Jalen Hurts was a Pro Bowl alternate last year, but Lamar Jackson in his first year was basically where Jalen is, and then completely, I think he led the league in touchdown passes. It's not like the guy hasn't shown an ability to throw the football. It's amazing.
Yeah, we saw great strides last season, so that's where I get confused. But I talk about this all the time, and I'm just like, I'm over it.
Before he got injured, the Ravens, I believe, were the number 1 seed in the AFC.
They were in the AFC North. Wait, was it? Or was it the AFC? But they literally, he is their offense. He's that win because of quarterback. So I just don't understand why he doesn't get the, praise and respect that he deserves, because we've already seen him do it. Some of these other little quarterbacks around here don't even have a resume like his. So that's why, like you said, people pick and choose for sure.
Unanimous MVP.
Right.
That says it right there. Nobody even voted for another player for one season. And he's saying that he's regressed that much. So
haters. That's what they are. They're haters.
They don't want him to get that money.
But he's gonna get. We saw what Kyler Murray got. He's getting more than that. I was like, that's cute what Kyler Murray got. If anything, Lamar just sitting back waiting because he knows he's going to get even more than that. So continue to, pay these quarterbacks because if anything, like it's just setting the tone for what Lamar is going to get because he's going to get paid. Why
And,
wouldn't
he's not going to need a stipulation in the contract that you got to do homework.
he? Right,
Like,
4 hours a week or something. I was like, whoa. Okay, he's playing video games.
Like, imagine you go to work and they write in your contract you must read emails for.
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah. That's wild.
And Lamar won't. You don't have to do that with Lamar.
No.
So he about to get that money. I hope he gets that money.
Me
They
too.
gave Deshaun Watson the money. Who we're not sure that he's ever going to play again.
Right. And they're so confident. Yeah, they were so confident in giving him all that because what he got 230 million, like fully guaranteed or something.
Yes.
Whatever. Yeah. You can't tell me Lamar's not getting paid.
He's got if y'all go look on his Twitter banner, he has like the gold teeth. It says, "I need money."
Yes. It's only right. It's only right. They know they need him, so they have no choice. They really have no choice.
That whole team is built around them.
Yes.
And he's probably Flacco could heat up around the postseason, but probably their best quarterback for sure since Steve McNair, maybe their best quarterback ever.
Yeah.
The Ravens. So take that for what it's worth.
Yeah.
But Raichele, thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure. Would love to have you back, especially when the season gets kicked off. There'll probably be some talk about Miles Sanders.
For sure.
We didn't even get in the game well and all that. But Raichele, tell the people where they can follow along and show you some support.
Yeah, for sure. You can follow me on both Twitter and on Instagram at Raichele Monique. That's RaicheleMonique. Also, make sure you head over to the Bleeding Green Nation. We have a website you can head over and check out. We have a YouTube channel that you can also find. BGN_radio is where you can find like all of our podcasts, and Bleeding Green Insta is where you can find all of our content as well. So, make sure you check into all of that because we are cranking out a lot of content starting like this week.
Y'all are as always. Y'all kept y'all keep it going in March when the Eagles are way out.
Yeah.
For having you on, and send my best over to the guys over there. Thanks.